Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Yes, welcome in. A massive day in America here today on this Monday. Because today is a day where Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah will speak on the state of the Minnesota Vikings. And the flag is back to work.
It's back. It's back from vacation. It's back from vacation. Arrived last night, refreshed. Breath was a little bit hanky because of alcohol smell, but hey, the flag is back.
Just soaking in a pint of Pilsner.
It's been in July, long month.
So the flag is back from an off season of dormancy. It's a 2-episode day of Purple Daily. On your feeds, you will see an episode highlighting the 5 things. There's more than 5. We could go into probably 10 or 15, but like 5 main things to be on the lookout for in Vikings training camp. A deep dive quarterback discussion where we as a country, we as America have to decide which of these 2 candidates is going to lead us into the future of Vikings football.
United. God bless McCarthy, quarterback that we love. Darnold can start for a little while.
Other than Judd singing, this is a safe space for those of you looking for just football and sports discussion here.
8 more years.
We want you to know that.
8 more years, at least, if not 10.
Of McCarthy as the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
How about that? How about tying that to the political arena? J.J. McCarthy-ism's about to hit Minnesota.
Yes. So today's second episode of Purple Daily, or first, depending on which order you are listening to this or watching this, will be Judd's 53-man roster projection here. So he'll go through that after he goes through the many benefits of Quick Trip.
Sports Dad has a message for all of those out there, and it's a very simple one. It's going to save you time as you look at the delicious items available at Quick Trip. And you know what? The message is this. Don't bother with the grocery store. The grocery store, it's passe. You know, it takes a long time. You got to go aisle to aisle. How about Quick Trip, where you can get, milk, bread, produce? Quick Trip always offers great value. And now you're saying, but I still have to go in, Sports Dad? And Sports Dad's here to tell you, no. As Declan has learned, you know what you do? You get the Quick Trip app. You order ahead. You might need gasoline as well. That's an extra perk. You get the gas, and guess what? You meet someone outside, and they have all of your items that you need, let's say, for lunch or dinner. Quick Trip makes your life as easy as possible. The service is outstanding. This is not your run-of-the-mill convenience store. Quick Trip, it would be your starter, or it should be at least, when it comes to convenience and getting items.
I'm just glad that Judd has decided to not end his campaign to discuss Quick Trip and the many benefits.
I will not end my campaign, no matter what Stella tells me.
So, okay, 53-man roster. Deck, should we start offense or defense here? Or should we start special teams and do a deep dive into the punting competition?
Let's start with offense. Let's go with offense.
Deck's like, give me that headline. Give me that headline. All right. So
offense.
This is actually Judd's 53-man projection 2.0. Because if you recall, we did one coming out of the off-season camps. Not a ton of changes, but some changes. All right, quarterback. They keep 3. I still have them keeping 3. Darnold, McCarthy, and Mullins. I have Jaren Hall being cut. I think perfect world for them. And it's very possible. Jaren Hall goes unclaimed on waivers and is signed back to the practice squad. And I know I've talked about the potential that if McCarthy plays well, Mullins could be tradable, especially to accrue another 2025 draft pick, which the Vikings desperately need. But for now, as we start training camp, I'm going with keeping 3, Darnold, McCarthy, Mullins.
Okay. Yeah, and we did a deep dive into Darnold, McCarthy, and just the whole situation leading into training camp with them on the other episode on the feed. So I don't think we need to repeat that conversation. That makes total sense. Can they sneak Jaren Hall through waivers and put him on the practice squad? I don't know that someone's going to put him on their 53-man roster, so you'd have a pretty good chance of getting him through as the 4th quarterback. Not a lot to worry about there.
All right, running backs. This is interesting. Curveball thrown yesterday. Cam Akers signs with the Houston Texans. Now, we had thought that he had, and I think according to Dukes, he had agreed to a deal with the Vikings. But the reason why teams don't put out press releases announcing this until the deal is signed is because of physicals. Akers has torn his Achilles not once but twice, I think, in both feet now. So he is not among the running backs. My prediction is the Vikings will also keep 3 backs. Ty Chandler, Aaron Jones, Kene Nwangwu. They will cut Myles Gaskin and Dwayne McBride. But I also think there's a fighting chance that the Vikings in the coming days could add another running back to the mix to compete. It feels like going into camp, they're off by 1, just as far as the depth goes there. So don't be surprised if Vikings add a running back, but I have them keeping 3 on the final 53.
Okay. So, yeah, 3 feels a little light, but I don't know. The Cam Akers thing is interesting. They must have just, because he was on was it ESPN or was it the NFL waiver? I mean, it was like it went through as a website, personnel move. Yeah,
had to be a physical issue, right?
Huh.
It is weird.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's 2 torn Achilles. If your doctors deem that he could pass a physical, he's only 25 years old, so I'm still interested, but maybe not. Maybe he's not ready physically.
All right, brief discussion here. The fullback position, CJ Ham makes the team. That's all I got for you on fullback. God bless Ham.
The hamster.
Ham. They love him.
Ham bone.
They love him.
Some ham.
Might carry the ball sometimes, might not. Might catch a pass, go in the block. CJ Ham. All right.
Green eggs and ham. Let's go. Little ham sandwich.
Do you want to keep going?
Little egg McMuffin with cheese, egg, and ham.
I love a good McMuffin. I love an egg McMuffin. Anyway, all right, wide receivers. I have the Vikings keeping 6. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Brandon Powell, Trent Sherfield Jr., and right now I've got them keeping Tristan Jackson, who has been with the team in some form since 2021, so it's been quite a stay. Jalen Naylor, provided he stays healthy, I think. In fact, I think he could actually make a bid to be the 3rd receiver if he can stay on the field, which he didn't last camp. So the cuts are Lucky Jackson, Ty James, Deshaun Jones, Malik Knowles, and Thayer Thomas. The last 4 are all UDFAs from either 2023 or 24.
Yeah, this is one of the craziest gaps in talent up and down the depth chart of any position in the NFL, where you've got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and Brandon Powell can play a little bit. Right. He's kind of a jack of all trades, and then just a bunch of random names, either young players or Sherfield is more of a veteran. So yeah, if they're keeping 6, the last 3 are going to be really interesting. Are there players that are? We talked about this on the other episode too. Is Adam Thielen an option at some point,
or a veteran of some sort?
Yeah, are there veterans that are still out there? We've talked about some of those on previous episodes too. There's still some free agents, but yeah, this is wide open. The last 3 names on this list.
On to the tight end position. Now, this is a little bit different because TJ Hawkinson's probably going to miss like the first 6 games. So he's going to be put on an inactive list. He obviously makes the team, but he's not
counting on your 53?
He does not count.
Okay.
So he's not going to eat up a roster spot until he comes back. So they'll put him on like the PUP or IR to start the season. So my 4 tight ends coming out of training camp are Johnny Munt, who is a very good backup. He can catch some passes, but I don't expect that he would be promoted to a key role here. I think he's a situational guy that O'Connell trusts. Josh Oliver, who they brought in as a really good blocker last year, he can catch some passes, but he's certainly not considered a pass catch first tight end. So the interesting thing is I've got them keeping Robert Tonyan, the veteran who had a lousy year with the Bears last year, but can catch passes, and Nick Muse, who missed a portion of the off-season program, but I think can catch passes as well. Mm-hmm. That means that they're going to cut N'Keal Harry, who has been converted from a wide receiver to a tight end, and 2024 UDFA Trey Knox.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry is one that's going to be kind of fun to watch that experiment play out in training camp. but there haven't been that many great success stories of players 4 or 5 years into their NFL career transitioning from wide receiver to tight end and then it being a success. Plus, there is some depth here. They've got some guys. They like Johnny Munt. He's the best third tight end in the NFL, according to KOC. And then, Robert Tonyan, not that long ago, caught double-digit touchdown receptions in Green Bay. So he's a guy. I'm not saying he's that guy anymore, but he's not that old. What is he, like 29 or 30? So
catch the ball.
Could see him in place of TJ Hawkinson. It's a good strong position group for the Vikings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even like Nick Muse, didn't he have like a great preseason, at least like preseason statistics, and kind of was one of those last guys that snuck onto the roster last year even. So he was a fringe guy last year, but I think Tonyan will potentially push him out, and push comes to shove, I would probably lean Tonyan unless he just doesn't have the speed or explosiveness that he used to have.
Right. And then when TJ is set to come back, they're going to have to cut somebody else, which is not going to be that tough, I don't think. But anyway, it's just because the tight end, when you consider the fact that if the Vikings go into the season with Powell as wide receiver 3, I don't know that that's the greatest option. So, like, I guess my question becomes, are you going to default to throwing to the tight end more at that point? And I think that you need a guy that you trust. And Tonyan has the hands, as Phil talked about, is probably more the speed still and the legs. But ultimately, Hawk comes back, and I think they're fine. All right, offensive line. I got them keeping 8. 8, which is, I believe, exactly what they kept coming out of training camp last year.
Okay.
And I'm going to go through these in what should be, hopefully, alphabetical order. So it's not all just starters. So Garrett Bradbury, Blake Brandel, Christian Darrisaw, Dan Feeney, signed as a free agent from the Bears. He can play. The nice thing here is he can be Bradbury's backup, but he also can kick out to guard if necessary.
And he has the best mustache and mullet combination of anyone on the roster.
Dan Feeney. His name is perfect. He just looks like a guy
he looks like a
who
Dan
should be
Feeney.
named Dan Feeney.
Yes.
Not a Daniel.
Yep,
Dan
not
Feeney.
Dan Feeney.
Ed Ingram, Brian O'Neill, David Quessenberry, who is your swing backup tackle, I believe, and Dalton Reisner.
Okay. Yeah, eight's a pretty light number. There have been years where some teams will keep 9. I don't know if a team keeps 10, but when you feel good enough about your backups, like Blake Brandel, if he's a backup, can play 4 different positions on the line.
And I do think that's going to be a competition.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that we should.
Is it a 3-way competition?
Hand that spot to Dalton.
Or do you think it's just a one-on-one competition?
It's a one-on-one
do you think
competition.
So Ed Ingram is safe, you project?
I think so. No, I think they're going to allow Blake to compete with Dalton. And I don't know, at the end of the day, because his contract is not much, I don't know that Dalton for sure makes the team if he doesn't win that job. I'd be curious to see. I think he does, but I'm not positive of that. So that means offensive line, the Vikings cut guard Henry Bird, swing offensive lineman Jeremy Flax, who was a UDFA, Michael Juergens, the center guard that they took from Wake, who was a 7th-round pick, who I think they can easily get back on to their practice squad. Doug Nestor, also a UDFA. Tyrese Robinson, Spencer Rowland, and Phil, to go back to what you said, which is, what if they keep 9? I think the 9th is 2024 6th-round pick Walter Rouse, who's a tackle.
Okay.
He looks the part.
Rookie, yeah.
He looks the part.
Another
so, like,
great
if they
name too.
Oh,
Walter.
Rouse is always a great football name.
Well, Walter, too, I feel
And
like.
Walter Rouse. Yeah. Super smart dude. If they're going to keep 9, I think he's the 9th.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, they have a couple intriguing guys from this draft class that they clearly like as well. And that's the offense, right?
That's the offense.
My math is right. So we got 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, a fullback.
25.
It's 7, 25. So we're going 25, 25, and 3 to get to our 53.
That's how we're going to do it.
Okay. So we got nothing too controversial. Hawkinson not taking up a roster spot makes this a little easier. Otherwise, your tight end room, you'd have to cut either a Johnny Munt, which I don't think is going to happen, or Nick Muse. Interesting. Or
I
you
think
cut
if Hawkinson
Robert
is
Tonyan.
healthy, Tonyan doesn't sign here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think
Take
that's a
him.
straight, like, can you still play, Robert?
And no guarantees after like October 8th or something.
But if he's playing well, he can get a job somewhere else for sure. So, yeah, I think the Tonyan Vikings union, marriage of convenience.
Yeah, makes sense. Plus, yeah, he gets to check off the last box in the NFC North from a career standpoint. Okay, the defensive side of the football.
All right.
Let's do it.
Fired up defensive line. 5 defensive linemen. Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips, Jaquelin Roy, Jerry Tillery, Jonah Williams, who spent the past 3 seasons with the Rams. That means the Vikings cut James Lynch, 2024 UDFA Tyler Manoa, Drake Redmond, who didn't make this, I don't think, the last time because he was signed by the Vikings in June. Levi Drake Rodriguez, the 7th round pick, who a lot of people are talking about, who I think is a prime candidate for the practice squad. And I'm going to try and pronounce this one correctly. I looked it up. Toki Tamni.
Okay.
Toki Tamni. Yeah, that's how I've got it written down. So
I'm going to give Judd the applause sounder.
I'm not positive that's right, but I went to a YouTube highlight clip and actually listened to it. He is also a 2024 UDFA who I think
I'm just proud that you pronounced CJ Ham and Aaron Jones correctly here.
Me too.
You're doing a good job so far on this show.
Right? It's a big day for me. You know I love this time of year. I'm back.
He's back.
The batteries are charged.
So we got five. Those are the down linemen. I mean, Harrison Phillips is a really good player. Otherwise, you are looking at 4 guys. Jaquelin Roy, who you're hoping emerges as a young player to the next step, or some guys Jonathan Bullard played a lot of snaps, but guys who had maybe some draft stock early in their career, and you're hoping that Jerry Tillery, for instance, live up maybe closer to what they were drafted.
This is a space I think the Vikings are ultimately going to fill with their ample salary cap space next March.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a name was crossed off their potential list yesterday. Kenny Clark signing a 3-year extension with the Packers.
Yeah,
he
that's
was set
tough
to hit the market. I think he's still. It feels like he's 35, but he's like 27. So he's still in his prime. So Kenny Clark goes back to the Packers, or will go back on a 3-year contract.
Your best bet is going to be a first-round pick of some kind, and then you'd have 5 years of team control. Yeah. Because in the best years, there's maybe 2 guys. I mean, this last year it's pretty rare you have 2 or 3 available players in free agency that move the needle, but that's also going to cost you $25+ million, and those guys are usually in their late 20s.
Yep.
So, yeah, they need someone young. I mean, if Jaquelin Roy could take a step forward, it'd be huge for them in 2020.
I just miss the day of good old fat guys. I really do miss those days. Ted Washington, Grady Jackson,
Pat Williams.
Big Pat Williams. I miss fat guys.
Yeah.
Guys are in too good a shape now.
They are. Well, they're athletes.
Yeah, you gotta stop focusing so much on being an athlete and just eat more food and take up more space.
I want the old days where guys would go to Chipotle during training camp lunches and get 3 big burritos. That's what I want. I remember like Matt Burke and Hutch, those guys, it was unbelievable how much they ate.
Between practices, they'd just be over there.
And then they retire and weigh $180. Yeah, they look like you. It's unbelievable. It's like, you aren't fat people. You aren't really fat people at all.
It's ridiculous.
All right. Edge, 5. 5 coming from the edge. Andre Carter II, who don't forget, this team paid a lot to as a UDFA a year ago. Now, he was not physically prepared to play. I think the Vikings knew that, so he didn't have an impact at all, but I think he's going to get every chance now because he did get a pretty good payday to come here. Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner, Andrew Van Ginkel, and I'm going to pronounce this one right, too. Jihad, Juud, capital HOD.
Yeah, Jihad
Ward.
Yep.
Last 2 seasons with the Giants, he makes the team. I was going through all the phonetical stuff last night because, damn it, I'm a professional, and the season is here. Well, it's spelled jihad. It's
you know what it was
jihad,
like? I saw a video yesterday on social media that people have probably seen where it's a car on a 5-lane freeway, and they say to themselves, "Okay, I need to get over. I'm like 3 lanes away from the exit ramp," and they're like, "I just need to get to the exit ramp." So they stop They slow down, they stop, they take
Yep,
their
that's what I
time,
did.
and they creep across. That was
Yes.
Judd trying to pronounce Jihad Ward
Jihad
right
Ward.
there.
Yeah, that's what I did.
He's got his blinker on.
And by the
He's
way,
looking
we're
over
not
his
done
shoulder.
yet. I haven't gotten teaser. I have not gotten to the toughest name yet.
All right. So
But da-
five. This
but
edge
damn it.
rusher room is pretty talented.
Yep. Well, and get the cuts here too. I've got him cutting, and this they might not. Pat Jones II, who was a third round pick from Pitt a few years back by Spielman, who's actually been a rotational guy.
But he doesn't get.
I've
enough
also
pressure.
got them cutting, and this might be dicey as well. This is going to be a place where it's going to be tough. Gabriel Murphy, who was the kid that everyone thought was going to be drafted from UCLA, wasn't drafted. The Vikings paid him pretty well. Now, I think the Vikings ultimately would love to put him on the practice squad, but this is a kid that might be claimed. So that's tough. And then the final two cuts are Owen Porter and Bo Richter, who were both 2024 UDFAs.
So some of it comes down to Jihad Ward he's a good average NFL player. He's just kind of a body, but he's getting a little older too, right?
Yep.
Would you rather have the security of knowing that you have a player that's played in the NFL for a few years and he's knows his way around an NFL field, or would you rather keep the young talent with more upside? I would tend to vote toward talent with upside because I already have Van Ginkel and Grenard in this room. Go for the upside.
I guess my only question is this. Did Flores identify something in Ward he especially likes?
Yeah, probably.
So that's the thing is because, in fairness, Murphy is probably not going to be prepared to play much. So do you keep him or do you see the teams are going to pass potentially on claiming him and then he just goes to your practice squad, which in the Vikings world is probably the perfect scenario?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be some of these, it depends on, in that waiver process, does another team view that player as good enough to jump on their 53-man roster?
Correct.
Now, they could also go sign with a different practice squad if they thought there was a better opportunity, but
Yes.
usually for these rookies and second-year guys, you put in all this work with this coaching staff, this system, and you're just an injury away from maybe being elevated from the practice squad. You want to start over somewhere else if you don't make a 53.
And if you don't get claimed, I think part of this also comes down to, does the team that tries to get you through to the practice squad, what do they pay you?
Yeah.
Because they can pay you more. But Pat Jones II, he's an interesting one because they played him. They like him as a rotational guy, but I'm just guessing that because he's not Flores' guy, he's the type of guy I think Flores takes a look at in year one and moves on from.
He looks like he should be more ferocious as a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yes.
But he just really isn't
Absolutely.
to this point. Okay.
All right. Linebackers. The inside linebackers. Brian Asamoah, Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr., and Camus Grew Jahill. That
There you
was
go.
the toughest one. Camus Grew Jahill. Thank you very much. Again, what don't I
I don't
do
know about that one.
for
I
the
don't know
show?
if you pronounced that right.
Camus for sure, right? Camus, K-A-H capital, and then small M-O-O. So,
Okay.
Did you go also the OMG site usually has the Vikings OMG site usually has the pronunciations on a lot of these guys too.
I
Don't
went to...
they sound them out phonetically
Yeah,
for you
typically,
too?
yep.
Oh, I went to Pro Football Reference and just looked at the pronunciation
man.
guide.
I mean, it's
Grew Jahill, I
Gruge-
think
it's Camus Gruge Hill.
yeah. I just went slower, but I think I got it.
I feel like you maybe put the schwa or the
That's very
whatchamacallit,
possible.
the emphasis on the
That's
wrong.
very possible. That's
It's
very
Camus
possible.
Grugier
It's training
Hill.
camp, okay?
Yeah,
It's training
you got
camp
it.
for us all.
So
training
special teams ace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the cuts are, and this is why I think Asamoah makes the team. The cuts are Abraham Beauplain, KJ Cloyd, who was a 2024 UDFA signing, and so was Dallas Gant. So three inside cuts there. I don't know, unless they bring in somebody else, I don't know that any of those three would knock Asamoah off the roster. And Asamoah does play on special teams.
Yeah.
So
I
I
could
think
still carve out a specialty.
I don't think this one's real tough.
What if Asamoah is the next Heath Farwell or something? That seems like a good
Ooh, wow. Blast from
Career.
the past. I like that.
just be a special teams ace at this point. he's not bumping Cashman or Ivan Pace Jr. or IPJ as some of Vikings.
Oh, we're going
Twitter
with
is gonna
IPJ?
call him. IPJ.
Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, I'm all in on that one.
Okay.
Cornerbacks, 6. So I had him keeping 6 in my roster projection 1.0, and tragically Kyrie Jackson passed away in the car accident in July. But I still think they're going to keep 6. Mekhi Blackman, Andrew Booth Jr., Caleb Evans, Shaq Griffin, who's going to start on a boundary, Byron Murphy Jr., who I think starts on a boundary again but kicks inside when they go to a nickel package, and special teams master Najee Thompson. AJ Green III, who has played in 34 games and had 2 starts in 4 years with Cleveland and signed here. I think he gets cut. Jalen Williams, who was a 2023 UDFA, I think he gets cut. And Dwight McLaughlin, who was a 2024 UDFA, I think he gets cut. I think there's a very good chance that McLaughlin and Williams are signed to the practice squad. AJ Green's the one that's probably a borderline. Like if Andrew Booth Jr. is not good in training camp, does he get cut and does AJ Green III make the team? Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. McLaughlin's one to watch during camp.
Yep.
Big guy, man. 6'2". AJ Green is also a big cornerback at 6'2", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and some of it depends on, are they just kind of done with Andrew Booth Jr. or he's definitely playing for his NFL future here the next month in training camp.
Right. And he just
Right.
might not, like, the thing about Green is you bring him in as a free agent because Flores likes his ability and size. Booth might not fit. So, like, that wouldn't, if Booth gets cut, I will not be shocked.
Yeah. And that brings us to safeties, the last position group before we get to special teams.
Okay, to get to 25 on the defensive side of the ball, 5 safeties. Cam Bynum, Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith, Jay Ward, and yes, that means Lewis Seen gets cut.
Wow.
I don't see the only wiggle room I see there is Seen over Ward, but Ward's more of a special teams guy, and I don't think Seen's especially good on special teams.
And Theo Jackson is definitively above Lewis Seen on the depth chart going back to last training
They
camp.
love him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was impressive. He flashed. He was a big part of Judd's training camp notes a year ago. That guy is a get-it guy. Good player. So,
Makes
yes.
plays. Yep.
Yeah, Seen is 1,000% a bubble guy. And I don't know. The problem with Seen is I don't know that he does enough that if he doesn't actually play at safety and or start, that he justifies a roster position.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if it's possible, and it might not be best case, you trade him. Somebody takes him and is like, you know what, he plays. He's got enough upside. He doesn't really fit what you're doing. Metellus is that guy. So we'll take him for like a 7th round pick. But that might be optimistic on my part.
Yeah. So there it is. There's 50. Got 3 to go here, but I mean, the safety room is loaded.
Yep.
The edge room has a ton of talent. The wide receiver room is really thin on the back end. Cornerback is kind of weird because you feel like there's a number crunch there, but there's also not. There's no one at the top of that group where you say, "Oh, that's a stud."
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of a bunch of guys with potential right now, and you throw in a veteran or two. And then I'm going to say I think the linebacker room has a lot of talent with Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. at the top, and we'll see. Asamoah has shown some flashes here and there, but that's not a bad roster. That doesn't feel like a 6-win roster to me, depending on what happens, obviously, at the quarterback spot. If you get nothing out of your quarterbacks, then
Right.
okay, 5-6 wins is on the table.
Cornerback wise, is Shaq Griffin still good? That's my question.
Yeah, it was his third team third or fourth team in like 3 years.
Bounced around a lot, but if he can get back to a semblance of the player that he was, it's a huge boost. If he can't, you're probably gonna have to bench him.
Yeah. Yep. You should look at benching your ugly deck and swapping it out for a non-ugly deck. Do you know a company that could help us with that problem, Judd?
I not only know a company, I know a company that uses that exact name. You know why? Because their goal in life, their mission in life, in training camp, it's to pare the roster down. In uglydeck.com's world, it is to rid the world of ugly decks. Book a free deck estimate this month and get 3 footings included. Just need a facelift for the deck. I mean, look at those gorgeous decks right there. Get up to $1,000 off installation or a DIY deck package. For the DIYer, Ugly Deck can install your footings and ledger and save you from the mess and frustration on the hardest part of building a deck. Half-full Ugly Deck customers have never framed a deck before, but with a free coach in their DIY Video Academy, you can do it. If you want the top carpenters in maintenance-free decks to build your entire deck, that's more of the sports dad route. They build year-round, so book a free estimate today for a new deck this year. Go to uglydeck.com to book your free estimate, uglydeck.com. And fall is coming, and in my opinion, no better time to be outside on a gorgeous day on your new deck than fall. I mean, summer's fine, but it gets a little sticky. It gets a little hot.
You know,
how about this? TV outside, fall Saturday.
Yes.
Beer in hand in college football. Ugly Deck can put you there.
This summer has been like laughably dumb when it comes to weather. It's pouring rain every day. It's the most humid it's been. There's mosquitoes breeding mosquitoes and gnats, and the flies look like humans. I don't know, man.
Wow, it sounds like an apocalypse.
It is. Like every day it just rains for an hour and a half. And
bring back drought.
Yeah, that's Royce's campaign.
Bring back drought. He told it to Rocco, for God's sake.
Elect Royce.
Rocco Baldelli is now, I think, on board with bring back drought. We had the tarp on the field for both games on Saturday and Sunday at one point.
And yesterday was weird because it poured and poured and poured, and then it cleared up, and it was great. But it's like, did it really have to pour that much?
No, it was completely unnecessary. Nicolay Law is necessary as the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. And Nicolay Law, they're just a bunch of normal, everyday folks that you probably see at games, see at the gas station, walking their dogs. The difference is they are normal folks who happen to have law degrees, and they're here to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. You can start your path to winning at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. Russell Nicolay and his team, proud supporters of Minnesota sports teams in town, Vikings and Twins. And more. So again, that's 1-855-NICOLAY or nicolaylaw.com. Okay, now what everyone's been waiting for. The last 3 spots on this 53-man roster. Is Judd going to innovate by getting rid of special teams altogether, or will he go with the traditional kicker, punter, and long snapper?
We joke and laugh until Ryan Wright shanks a punt, or until the new kicker misses a 56-yard attempt, and then we get on vent line and we bitch up a storm.
I mean, what if we just
Special
taught
teams.
Brian Asamoah how to kick punts? Then he could kick punts and go chase down and make the tackle.
Special teams, 3 guys. I'm not going to put up with this obvious trying to bring Reese Lloyd back. That's not for me. All right, special teams, kicker. This is not a competition. John Parker Romo, the XFL guy. Pack your stuff. You're a camp leg.
More like John Packer Romo. You know what I'm saying?
Will Reichard, the 6th round pick, makes the team. Big leg. Big leg's important.
Okay.
Prodigy.
Yeah, exactly right.
Big leg Bill?
Yep.
Is that what we're calling him?
Big leg Will. Yeah.
Bill, I'm calling him.
Oh, Bill. You can call
Big
him
leg Bill.
That's Robert, though. I don't think you can torture Will into, right?
What do you mean?
You can call William. William
No,
is Bill.
you're thinking of Bob. Robert is a Bob.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
I'm going Bill here.
I'm so football focused right now. People are trying to have fun, and I'm just like, I just want to go to training
My
camp.
middle name's Robert. That was a spin cycle right there over the last 30 seconds.
I'd like to apologize, folks. I am so focused on football right now.
I'm looking for the alliteration. Big leg Will
I
or
got
big
my
leg Bill?
Tarkington bobblehead set to go out to TCO with me. I miss Mankato. I'd like to really apologize. It's been a tough couple days for me. All right. You're right. I'm wrong. Okay. Punter. I actually think this is a competition. Ryan Wright, I don't know if I talked about this or not on our Judd's camp notes from the off season, but I might have. Ryan Wright actually has lost weight. Like, he clearly knows that there's a job at stake here, and they were very unhappy.
So Ryan Wright's on Ozempic.
Yes, exactly right. But I don't think it saves his job. I think the big leg of Seth Vernon, 6'5", 230, but he ain't fat. Looks like a tight end.
Former wideout. Didn't he also play wide receiver in college?
Dude looks like he's chiseled. I think he is your punter. And then Andrew DePaula, who is, of course, famous for his East Coast bagel shop, returns as one of the best long snappers. No franchise has as many like quality runs of long snappers as this one.
Yeah,
But
we've had Mike Morris for over a decade, and then Cullen Loeffler for a decade, and now Andrew DePaula. Did we have somebody in between? Because I think Loeffler took over from Mike Morris, right? Or did we have somebody between them?
No. Loeffler took over from Mike, and then Loeffler was replaced by they tried to a couple of years back. They drafted that kid from the military academy, and he didn't work because Zim got pissed at him for like one bad snap or something.
Classic.
But DePaula's been really, really good there. So
Packer fans, you can have your 30-year run of franchise quarterbacks.
Yeah, take that.
We've got a 30-year run of franchise long snappers here. Yeah.
One thing I'm curious about is what is the Packers kicking competition like? I swear to God, they've got like 3 or 4 kickers there now, including Greg Joseph.
Yeah. I don't know. Whoever it is, I feel like they always find a way to. There's Mason Crosby had one bad year and Longwell did, but they always find a way to find someone that can kick in those frigid temperatures. So there's your 53-man roster.
I'd like to apologize. You're right, Will. I'm
Bill.
I'm so laser focused. I'm so laser focused right now on the press conference and then Wednesday's practices.
Yeah. And just the turmoil right now that America faces, trying to figure out
You're right.
who the Vikings starting quarterback is going to be.
You're right. Get on Twitter, voice your opinion. Don't be afraid. Don't stand down.
Yes, get on Twitter and loudly proclaim who you want
to be
the Vikings quarterback. Yeah. Are you a Darnold defender?
Yep.
Or a McCarthy missionary? That's no.
No. Now I don't feel as bad for my mistake because you're going to end the show on that note.
All right, that's a wrap for Judd's 53-man roster projection here. Don't be shy. If you see the sports dad or any of us at Score North at Vikings training camp, if you see the flag out there waving itself, come up and say hi.
Off the practice field to find the flag.
All right, that's a wrap. Purple Daily, Daily 24. Vikings entertainment. Just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl.